Welcome to Lifestyles of the Strange and Exotic Classic Book Reviews. Now this is something I've been kind of contemplating for a while, that I have a buttload of really good classic books. Most of them would be Star Trek. I have some Egyptian stuff, I don't know, but I'm starting with the Star Trek ones first. And there are a couple people on YouTube that have to review the newest books that are just so not worth even looking at. And I'm like, the classic books deserve to be reminded of, especially back in the old days when you could get a Star Trek book, just a single book. That was a good story. It was like an episode in a page form. Now you have like a series of books that suck. So this is just sort of an idea. I'll put at least one out. And if you'd like to have me do more of these, comment down below, and we'll see. Now, I didn't do my normal setup, breaking out my curtain and all that stuff, because I didn't want to be like so far away. Here's the book, can you see? So I hope this is a little closer, but you get crappy background. This is the best I can do at the moment. So I'm still, like I said, working out the bugs. So the first book, I should be wearing a Star Trek shirt for this. Should I break out my old Captain Kirk outfit? Or at least the command uniform I have. The first book I pulled out was something that I've had since forever. Now this came out, you can tell how old this is when this is number 41. The oldest, and this comes out of Pocket Books. Now I don't know if they still issue out Star Trek books or not. And they were numbered sequentially. And the oldest one I have that's actually numbered is the Klingon Gambit, and that's number 3. Though I do have Enterprise and the novelizations of the movies. But I think I have Final Frontier too. And tell you how old this is. This was published in 1988. So this is before the Kindle, before anything electronic. Was this even before the internet? I don't know, but this is when books were books. So this is one of my favorite ones. And this one is by Barbara Paul. And I can't remember if she's done other ones or not. And you can also tell how old it is. It was $3.95 originally. And it's 3-Minute Universe. In most, if not all of my novels, as far as Star Trek is concerned, is TOS. The only ones I have that are next gen either have, are the novels of the episodes that had like Scotty and Spock in it. So no next geners in my library here. And this goes, the galaxy is on fire, and only the Enterprise can save it. And I'll read you the back cover here. The Sackers. In all of Captain James T. Kirk's travels, he had never found a race more universally shunned and abhorred. Their mere appearance caused most Federation members to become violently ill. Now the Sackers have performed a deed whose brutality matches their horrifying exterior. They have stolen a revolutionary new scientific device, murdering an entire race in the process, and used it to create a rip in the fabric of space, a hole with which another universe is rapidly leaking. Unless Captain Kirk and the crew of the Enterprise can find a way to stop the new universe's expansion, it will consume and utterly destroy our own. Now, having learned a few new things in physics, that last part, I'm not quite sure what actually happened. Well, I think it was Dr. Michio Kaku or something like that, was talking about how they don't call them alternate dimensions anymore. It's the multiverse. So basically, it would be where you would have clusters of bubbles, and the bubble would come off the bubble without destroying either bubbles. So I'm not sure if that would be scientifically possible with the new theories, where the universe would come into our own. It would just make its own bubble. So I'm like, after how many years, I'm like, wait a minute. So this is awesome. Now the Sackers look like refuse spun into a blender, piled into a pile of poo. Literally, they visually make you sick. The sound of their speech could blow your eardrums out. They reek to high heaven. Every tactile sensation a human being has, the Sackers, which is a term that the humans gave them, because they're like a giant sack of it, literally, they just fire it off in the worst possible way. But so the lesson you would probably learn the most from this would be, don't judge a Sacker by how it affects you physically. They're individuals just like any other individual. It's not like they purposefully, make you ill. That is just their physicality just does not balance with our physicality. But you do learn to get used to them. And I have to mention about, like, the cover art. There's an artist, I think his name is something Bird, or might be on one, I think he's on another one I'll review. But that back in the day when cover art was, like, awesome. Some of them are really, really good. And some of the artists were in the collector card series that came out in 94. Yeah, I think it was for the 25th anniversary. And it's really, really cool. And I love the artwork on the old novels. And, of course, I have my Star Trek book cover. "Helmsman, full reverse!" Kirk shouted. "Full reverse." Sulu moved quickly, responding to the urgency in the captain's voice without understanding a reason for it. "Course, Captain?" Chekhov sounded puzzled. "Away from that!" Kirk gestured toward the main view screen, which is now showing streaks of exploding gas in the far distance. "Spock, any chance your figures could be wrong?" "No, Captain. I have checked them twice. We are now retreating from the effects of a primal explosion identical to the one that gave rise to the universe we are living in." Kirk didn't like it. He didn't like it at all. "So what we're seeing is a new universe in the process of being born," he said heavily. "Inside our universe?" Chekhov protested. "But we were here first." So that's the cover hint of what you get inside. And I want to call it a really funny book, but there's a lot of dark things that happen. You understand what the Sackers are doing and why, who they are, and just because something is visually unpleasant to you doesn't make them evil. There are some hysterically funny parts in this book. At one point, they're on the Sacker ship, and I guess there's a fire going on, and they're trying to go for cover, and there's this giant bulkhead where you've got like like 7 people in this bulkhead the size of like what would come out of your house. And they're in the dark, can't see anything. They basically just pile in. So like, okay, you here. So there's just the massive bodies and arms. And at one point, her goes something about, "Oh, I didn't mean to, like, step on your arm." And Kirk goes, "That wasn't my arm." And it's like this whole page of, like, hysterics of them trying to, like, not bean each other in the head. And then they're, like, crammed in there. And that was one of the funniest parts of the book. Then there's at one point, and I caught myself doing this myself once, where it's just a little scene. He's sitting on the bridge, and Kirk scratches like an itch, and he's doing this, and it goes like it's probably the first time the Vulcan peace sign was ever used to scratch an itch. Like, okay, did you really need to put that in the book? But it was funny. But the beginning it starts off a bit dark, because you obviously are going through what the Sackers had done about, how they stole the device. But once you get into meeting the Sackers and the whole dynamic of getting to know people that are so unlike yourself, only to realize you're a lot more alike than you realize, that's the coolest part of this book. I mean, it's hard to do, like, a review without, like, giving away the book. And there's, in this one, in a little snippet of Spock's world. So this came out before that book. I don't know how popular it is or anything. I don't know what more to tell you without ruining it. But, it's been a while since I've actually read this book, so I should probably go through it again. Now, they probably don't sell them anymore in bookstores. That's if you can find a bookstore. I do not know. But definitely check them out on Amazon. So, I'm sure you could probably still find the classic books somewhere. If Amazon, I don't know where else you'd find. Maybe whatever system Nook uses. I don't know what even's out there now. But there's still something about actually, having a bookmark in an actual page of an actual book. And, you know, you can, and I like the fact that you can tell how old a book is because of the yellowing of the pages, and, you know, and God only knows where this came from. I have absolutely no idea where this came from. If this was bought new, it probably was. I don't remember. This is probably a good 20, 25 years old. Well, I don't know, 88? Probably came into Star Trek around 86. Yeah, it's probably brand new in those era. Wow, I feel so old now. And it's really hard nowadays to find a good, even a good book generally, but at least a Star Trek book where it's not necessarily in the story. Now, if it's good story, great, but you have to get the characters right. You can picture, it's like playing an episode in your head. You can picture McCoy, you can picture Spock, and she's got the characters down so you recognize who they are. You know, Spock acts like Spock, Kirk acts like Kirk. Uhura acts like Uhura, and there's a good in-depth kind of peek into who Uhura is. You know, an experience she experienced in her youth affects her role in this story, you know, greatly, where she has to overcome a great fear. So that was interesting too, and everybody has sort of an equal play. You know, it's not like it is the Kirk show. No, they all have their own role. So these are books that you wish they made episodes out of, and I'll mention that in certain other books I'll be reviewing shortly. But definitely not dull. It keeps you wanting to keep going through the book. It is, I don't know if that will matter, 265 pages. And it doesn't stall at any point. It's one that the momentum is continuous throughout the book. Some of them are like me in The Hobbit. Once I get to the trolls, it's like, just sit on them already. I stopped caring. That's why I will not touch the actual book of Lord of the Rings, because if I can't get through The Hobbit, I bother. I don't feel like I'm worthy enough to touch the Lord of the Rings, you know. But that was just me. I just couldn't do that. But this book keeps you going, and you can't wait to kind of find out what's on the next page. And there's points where I'm like, I want to know what's going on. Peek ahead, peek ahead. Shall I read you another snippet? Oh, and this is funny too, where the Sackers don't, I mean, they do have names to each other, but if you say something to a Sacker, like addressing them, hey dude, they will call dude their name. You know, just so they have something to, so it's like you have to be careful what you call a Sacker. Babe? And who might Babe be? The Sacker commander, Chekhov grinned. Uhura named her. Inadvertently, Uhura said. Uhura, Scotty said in a tone of reprimand, calling another woman Babe. She's not exactly another woman, Scotty, Uhura protested dryly. Besides, I was being sarcastic. I actually did that once, a couple of times, I think, where before the days of having access to audiobooks, I recorded myself reading the book. So, but I don't know if I ever played it back, I don't know. Check out 3-Minute Universe by Barbara Paul, and this one was issued by Pocket Books, and definitely a good read. This is one of my top 3 favorites. As you can tell, it's been rather beat up. Thank you for watching. Comment if you'd like me to do some more reviews. I'd kind of like to do them because it's getting kind of darker and gloomier, and I don't know if you'll see as much. So here I might be clustered around a lamp and whatever. So it'd be a good sort of wintertime thing to do. You know, snuggle up with a book in front of a fireplace if you're lucky to have one. And, you know. So if you'd like me to keep doing more, comment down below or suggest any books even. Kindle or the old-fashioned type with pages. I would greatly appreciate if you subscribe. God only knows what you'll discover, but you never know. I'm just throwing stuff out there, you know. I'll get it right at some point. And thank you again for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Live long and prosper.